Welcome back to Cody in the Cinema. Today I'm going to discuss 10 movies that I think are great adaptations of books or inspired by books, or maybe they butchered, the book into little pieces, but they're a good version of it. And so I wanted to share 5 that are a little bit more commonly known, 5 that are less commonly known, and I'll alternate, starting with Carrie, the Sissy Spacek movie about a teenager who's bullied so badly that she goes crazy, and if you've seen the movie, you know the rest. I love the steelbook of this. It's absolutely gorgeous. Scream Factory. But great performance from her. Piper Laurie's in it as the mother, who's really kind of overbearing in that virgin suicides kind of way that Kathleen Turner was in that movie. Real good one if you haven't seen it. And like I said, a really good piece of physical media. The Age of Innocence. Daniel Day-Lewis, Winona Ryder, and Michelle Pfeiffer. And my favorite performance from Michelle Pfeiffer that isn't her in Batman Returns as Selena Kyle. You know what? I like them both. I just really like that actress. Daniel Day-Lewis. The movie that I would say many of you should see if you've only seen There Will Be Blood, but not this one. Oh man, you're going to love him in this. And Siskel and Ebert consistently talked about how even though this movie doesn't have a lot of the violence you associate with the Scorsese movies, it's quietly violent. There's a lot of tension going on in this love triangle beneath the surface. Beautiful costume movie, beautiful period piece. You got to see it. I've recommended plenty of times Barry Lyndon. Not quite as good as that movie, but certainly in that same vein. The next up, we have the movie that very well caused many a collapse in a cinema and still remains controversial to this day, although I think some people are saying it has less effect than it used to, The Exorcist. I still think it's great. The actual exorcism of a young girl who is possessed by a demon in a terrific performance from everyone involved, and a production that was quite stirring in terms of the controversy and just things that happened on this set. I mean, I believe that Ellen Burstyn had like a permanent injury from this movie, and when you watch it, there is a real sense of supernatural gravity pulling at you. It's scary, and it's a lot of fun to watch for some people once. The first time I watched it was on a VHS, and I was not ready for it at all. So it's a good one. Chilly Scenes of Winter. I've recommended this on the channel before. Starring John Hurd, and it's some flashbacks of him going through a difficult breakup. And it's a great one to watch. Christmas, snow, anything like that kind of time. I believe if you like his style of comedy, like if you enjoy how deadpan he was in Home Alone, this is a movie that really showcased his talents. And this is an actor who I believe could have done even more great films and didn't. So definitely more than just the Home Alone dad. If you've never seen Chilly Scenes of Winter based on the book, you have to see it. And what book to movie adaptation video would be complete without mentioning The Godfather, Francis Ford Coppola's masterpiece with Marlon Brando. Fun fact, I have read some of the book and found this to be a lot better than the book. The book's not as tight. It's not as good of storytelling. I think the director and the whole team really improved this from the book. Now, I'd like to hear from those of you that read the whole thing. I just lost interest because this was so compelling, and I really think this also ups the character of Robert Duvall. His character gets upped quite a bit in this one, and of course, I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse here on the back of this beautiful steelbook. I got this online from Walmart. Really good stuff. Another one from the Criterion Collection that it often shows up in horror lists that I truly highly recommend you see because of how disturbing and well photographed it is. It's a truly visually unique movie, The Cremator. And this is about an actual cremator who starts losing his mind and gets roped up in some things he shouldn't. You can maybe put the pieces together as to where something like that might go. Great Czech New Wave film. And the last 20 or 30 minutes of this, you probably want to maybe grab a teddy bear or something and just kind of hold tight because it'll really get to you. I remember being a 5-year-old, 6-year-old little kid. I remember buying a Nerf gun from the KB Toys. Don't you miss KB Toys? And we would play Jurassic Park all day long after we watched the movie. We would pretend that different parts of the house were like different sections. And like I remember downstairs was where the T-Rex was. That's the kind of impact this film had on us, seeing it growing up. Little kids like me, we were dinosaur obsessed. I guess I still am kind of fossil obsessed because I love Badlands National Park so much. But this taps into a lot of my interests like that. Sam Neill in one of his best roles, that's not the piano. And Laura Dern really put her heart and soul into that. Jeff Goldblum, huh? Man, what an actor. The dinosaurs broke loose in that one. Also, one of the best posters ever. From the children's book, Hugo, the children's book is a combination of drawings and small writing on individual pages. And it's a delightful children's book. It's a great Scorsese vehicle. Sacha Baron Cohen in a really good comedic performance here. I love this movie. And I really like Arrow's edition of it because you have the reversible art that they're so famous for. But it's a story about a boy who's trying to put back together this robot after his father's passed away, and he like works in this clock tower, and it relates some pieces of the story to silent film history. So anyone who's a real fan of movies and movie history really needs to see this, especially if you love silent films. This is one for you. A movie that I've plugged in the very beginning of this channel that I continue to be a real fan of, the actual remake live-action Disney The Jungle Book. Now, I love the original Jungle book. I've taught parts of it whenever I taught English in class, and students reacted favorably to this. Some of mine did. I feel like this has the humor and the heart and the fun of that story as much as any version, and Christopher Walken is ridiculous with his voice acting. Give this a watch. It is much better than the other live-action Disneys. And finally, one of the strongest films in here that you may not have heard of, I hope that you will watch it after this, Walkabout, which is a movie version of an Australian book, I believe called The Children. And this follows a group of children who get lost in the wilderness, and a young man has to save their lives who is from that wilderness area. And watching the 4K of this was my first 4K I ever watched. And it is strikingly beautiful, seeing that scenery. And just a great story, thrilling adventure. Highly recommend you watch this. So I know some of you on my channel are English teachers and you're readers and so forth, and you read a lot more than I ever could. So I want to know what your thoughts are on this list that I've given you. I have left some notable inclusions out that I may do in a future video. Let's hear from you in the comments, right? If you are enjoying my content, please help grow the channel by clicking like and subscribe if you have not done that. That really helps me out. And we'll see you next time here on Cody in the Cinema.